I wish I had cat ears for this video. So the other day, this random tweet popped up on my For You page, and it says, "What was your favorite online world?" And I went down the list, mentally checking off every single MMO that I've heard of or played, until I got to the bottom, where I read, Hello Kitty Online. There was a Hello Kitty MMO and nobody thought to tell me? Markiplier played it, and nobody told me. So, of course, as we do on this channel, we will be doing a deep dive. Hello Kitty Online was a free-to-play MMO role-playing game developed by Sanrio Digital and Typhoon Games. The game opened in 2008 and tells the story of a hero who must help Hello Kitty and her friends wake up from eternal slumber and defeat a mysterious and malevolent power. But the cutesy MMO was not your typical MMO experience. According to the Hello Kitty Online devs, Hello Kitty Online is an MMORPG that differs from most other MMORPGs in a couple of ways. It is built with the aspects of social networking, and it is technologically integrated with the sanriotown.com website. Hello Kitty Online thus has broader social functionality than is normally found in an MMORPG, because we have integrated aspects of the official Hello Kitty community inside the game client itself. Additionally, what set Hello Kitty Online apart from other MMOs, other than the fact that this is the last MMO that you think would ever exist, is its charitable aspect. We'll talk more about this in depth later, but Hello Kitty Online put a huge emphasis on charity events and giving back to communities in need. Sanriotown.com seemed to launch in late 2007, about a couple of months before the first Hello Kitty Online closed beta. The website featured online games, a forum, a quiz center, the Dream Studio, blogs, a game center, a downloads page, and a shop. Hello Kitty and Sanriotown.com were meant to be tied together, and even if you didn't play Hello Kitty Online, you could still use Sanriotown.com for its plethora of other features. I think it's a pretty cool concept for an MMO at the time. The MMOs that I played, Virtual Magic Kingdom and Virtual Family Kingdom, had forums and online websites where you could go and talk to people outside of the game, but they weren't official, and it was clear that Sanrio wanted to cultivate a dedicated and engaged community. However, Hello Kitty Online did not seem to be prominently featured on the Sanrio Town website, to the point where you wouldn't even know that the two are connected. I think sometimes there was a small button on the side of the page that promoted Hello Kitty Online, but you'd think if the two were as connected as Sanrio wanted them to be, it would be prominently featured in the banner where they sometimes promoted other games, like other Sanrio apps. And then alongside Sanriotown.com, there was HelloKittyOnline.com, which of course was dedicated to more of the in-depth things about the game. The website itself first popped up in 2002, which I found to be a little surprising. It is funny to see what the website used to look like. I'm not sure if this was Sanrio trying to get ahead of themselves and grab the URL and save it for their later use in 2007 and 8. The Hello Kitty Online website featured a variety of different things related to HKO, such as their charity impact, tutorial videos, blog posts about the new things going on in the game, and so on. Once again, I think it's confusing to have two separate websites. I understand that they're meant to be connected, Hello Kitty Online and Sanriotown.com, and that Sanriotown.com is meant to be separate so that you could also use Sanriotown.com without having to play Hello Kitty Online, but I think that is way too confusing for your audience, and let's be honest, who is using Sanriotown.com who also isn't playing Hello Kitty Online? Nobody. The closed beta application was announced on February 13th, 2008, and was only open for about a month. Due to the limited amount of testing accounts available, applicants were encouraged to make a video talking about why they should be chosen for the closed beta. These videos were uploaded through the Dream Studio on the Sanriotown website, and I could only find one that was uploaded to YouTube. More than 50,000 applications were submitted, and the winners were selected on March 18th, 2008. They actually announced the chosen applicants in a blog post, and if you saw your email address on this long list of email addresses, that meant that you were chosen. Before closed beta kicked off on April 1st, 2008, World of Warcraft Insider, a popular blog and news site about World of Warcraft, announced that it would no longer cover WoW and would switch to covering Hello Kitty Online. That same day, Sanrio Digital posted an announcement revealing the first Hello Kitty Online expansion pack, titled Island Adventure, set to release in 2009. According to the release, The premise is the crash landing, without casualties, on a mysterious island in the South Pacific of Hello Kitty Air Flight 337, which had been carrying Hello Kitty and friends to the 5th Cuteness World Symposium in Perth, Australia. Our heroes, including Hello Kitty, Dear Daniel, Keroppi, Batsmaru, and many others, find themselves marooned on the nameless island, along with a couple hundred fellow passengers whose roles will be filled by end users. Soon, the survivors discover that the island is inhabited by a community of squat, foul-mouthed, inferiorly animated characters whose only intention is to send the newcomers packing by any means possible. As tensions with the island's original inhabitants rise to a boil, a crisis of leadership is brooding within the ranks of our cuddly friends. Will Hello Kitty manage to hold together the band of survivors using her trademark cuteness and amicability? Or will Batsmaru rise to power, arguing that survival on the island requires ruthlessly doing unto others before they do unto you? Who will you follow? While a couple of people in the comments of the blog post believed the announcement, many others were quick to applaud Sanrio Digital for their reference to the South Park episode, Make Love, Not Warcraft.
I don't play World of Warcraft.
Butters, you said you're on your computer all the time.
Yeah, but I'm playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
The closed beta began on April 23rd and ran through June 1st, 2008. The announcement for the closed beta promised a lot for its players to explore. A persistent, beautifully designed and unique game world, unique NPCs featuring popular Sanrio characters, player housing, an extensive crafting system, farming, minigames, storylines, and so much more. All for the low cost of $0. Remaining free to play with purchasable items in the shop was incredibly key for Sanrio. I think it's great when MMOs have a very low barrier to entry, like that being a cost, so keeping it free was good. The closed beta of Hello Kitty Online received mixed but mainly positive reviews. Some criticized the game's sprite-based and isometric perspective. The 2.5D graphics were criticized as 10-year-old technology. I don't know what MMOs you were playing in 2008, but these are the ones that I was playing. In an interview with 10 Ton Hamster, one of the game devs said, "The imperative since day one was to make this game cute. Everything, including the game areas, the avatars, the music, and even the enemies had to be unequivocally cute, or we'd take it back to the drawing board." I think this is incredibly important, and another thing that they mentioned is that they didn't want to just create an MMO and slap the Sanrio branding and characters on top of it. They wanted it to feel authentic. IGN reviewed the game, writing, "After going through most everything the beta had to offer, including making stylish blue jeans, purchasing a Japanese garden, and getting a freaking T-Rex as a pet, I can say that Hello Kitty Online is shaping up to be a pretty fun MMO for the younger, less battle-hungry crowd. It's certainly not as in-depth as a major MMO is, but it provides a stylish environment with colorful characters and music that seems oddly epic for a game about cats and bunnies. While it seems like it'd be an ideal game for the younger demographic, I found plenty of adults playing it too. Hello Kitty Online has the franchise appeal behind it to possibly make a hugely successful casual MMO. That's the other thing too. Hello Kitty Online was geared towards a younger audience, but it still had a massive fan base of adults who played the game. So those criticizing the game are not necessarily the audience for the game. On September 12th, 2008, Sanrio Digital announced the Founders Beta, scheduled from October 8th to November 8th. Those selected for the Founders Beta would be given special rewards and would be able to keep their character and possessions when the game went open to the public. The 20,000 accounts given out for the Founders Beta. Before the launch of the Founders Beta, Hello Kitty Online released their official trailer.
Welcome to Hello Kitty's massively multiplayer online game.
In an interview with 10 Ton Hamster, Abigail Reyes, the Hello Kitty Online community manager, talked about some of the features that were teased in the trailer. We wanted the trailer to showcase important aspects of the game that many people might not necessarily know about. During the closed beta, the feedback for the game's farming system was extremely positive, so we put a gigantic, fully functioning farm in the trailer. We wanted to feature the 3 primary social technologies of Hello Kitty Online: blog, video sharing, and email. These 3 services are integral to the game's popularity and are a key part of Sanrio's mission to foster social harmony. As for the part of the trailer concerning pets, we just had to show the cute and cuddly T-Rex. During the closed beta, only 2 areas were open. In the trailer, we decided to show some of the other maps we are working on. For the Founders beta beginning on October 8th, we are opening up London and Paris, and throwing in a few twists and surprises. At launch, we will have around 28 minigames inside Hello Kitty Online. As you know, there is no player versus player in Hello Kitty Online, and this kind of violent confrontation does not fit in with Sanrio's philosophy. So, to satisfy the need for direct competition, we built several minigames where players can play against each other or just for the fun of it. Additionally, she talked about the different in-game events that they plan to run. Events are a key part of Hello Kitty Online and the community we're building. Aside from special events like the Monster Hunt, we will also have Game Master sponsored events. One event that we expect to be quite popular is Simplicity itself, the interior decoration competition, in which players send in a screenshot of the interior of their in-game house and everyone takes a vote to determine who has the coolest home. In addition, the Founders Beta featured the very first charity event that Hello Kitty Online would run. Foods for Friends was an in-game charity contest where guildmates would have to gather as much crafted food items as they could in-game. And based on the total prepared food donated by all guilds, Sanrio Digital would make a donation to UNICEF and the Asian Youth Orchestra. Guild members were tasked with collecting and crafting a number of food items by the end of the Founders Beta. And the harder it is to collect the item, the more credit that you get. Once again, I personally haven't seen many other MMOs do a charity component like this. Of course, I personally never really grew up with RuneScape or World of Warcraft or EverQuest, so I could be wrong on that. But to see it in a kids game like this, because I did play Toontown and Club Penguin and any kind of kids MMO that you could think of, but to see it in a kids game was incredibly impactful to me. On November 8th, after the conclusion of Food for Friends, Sanrio Digital revealed the results of the charity event. Across 5 days, guilds raised over 344,000 crafted food items. Quote, each one produced from the player's own time, in-game money, and effort. Not long after, Sanrio Digital posted a separate announcement revealing the dollar amount that they would be donating. Quote, as promised, Sanrio Digital will be donating over 12,000 USD to UNICEF and the Asian Youth Orchestra. As stated in the mechanics of the event, our main focus is not sheer amount of items, but the effort required to produce them as a labor of love. Additionally, they revealed via this graphic how much each of the food items equated to. The 56,000 lemon pies equated to $5,657, approximately 10 cents per lemon pie. The 140,000 chocolate milks equated to $280, which was approximately 0.002 per chocolate milk. At the bottom of the announcement, they promised that they would be posting the receipts of the deposits to UNICEF and AYO, which I think is incredibly important for transparency purposes. I think it's cool that Hello Kitty Online put such an emphasis on charity and gave their members a free way to give back to these communities in need. In an interview, Robert Ferrari, Vice President of Publishing and Business Development at Sanrio Digital, said, one of the goals of Hello Kitty Online is to encourage all players to contribute to relief efforts for real-world problems. Our in-game events are our way of promoting charitable causes. Unfortunately, I can't find any information on when the game was open to the public, but let's dive into the gameplay. Let's kick it off all the way in the beginning with the character creation menu. In Hello Kitty Online, players are represented by customizable human avatars. You can customize your gender, hairstyle, eyes, skin tone, face, and blood type. Wait, blood type? Yes, your blood type is customizable in Hello Kitty Online. I never thought I would be saying this, let alone in a Hello Kitty Online video. Why was this even added? What is the point of adding your blood type in Hello Kitty Online? Am I going to be transfusing blood into people? Moving on, Hello Kitty Online is a somewhat top-down MMO. I'm not sure if that's the right phrasing for it, but you point and left mouse click to tell your character where to walk. After booting up the game and creating your character, you land in the Dream Carnival. According to the wiki, it's considered to be a dream your character is having before even entering Sanrio Land and having to wake up Hello Kitty and her friends. It's the tutorial before you get into the game to really acquaint you with the gameplay. The Dream Carnival map is massive, and there are 38 quests in the Dream Carnival, and if you leave the area, you cannot return. I have never heard of a game or an MMO with 38 quests in the tutorial, but once again, it's really meant to show you the basics of the game. Many of the early quests are fetch quests, so bringing things from NPC to NPC across the map. Additionally, the early quests introduce you to the combat system and teach you about resource collecting. There is combat in the game, but the combat is secondary. Your weapons are blunt instruments such as brooms, fly swatters, wands, and microphone stands. Players right-click on a monster and they fight, but monsters don't die in Hello Kitty Online, they pass out and are defeated, which then allow the players to loot them. With combat being secondary to Hello Kitty Online, that makes resource collecting and crafting the primary aspects of the game. Resource collecting has 4 skills: woodcutting, gathering, planting, and mining. Item crafting is another key feature and, like resource collecting, is also divided into 4 sub-skills: cooking, tools and weapons, clothes, and furniture. Additionally, in the Dream Carnival, you're introduced to the farming skill in the Something Stir-Frying quest, when you're tasked with growing some eggplants. Each player receives a starter farm upon entering the game for the first time, and the farm serves as the primary form of income in the game. Crops grown on the farm can be sold, traded to other players, or used in recipes. After the Dream Carnival, you move into the full game and the main storyline, starting off with Sanrio Harbor. The main questline of Hello Kitty Online, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, tasks players with helping Hello Kitty and her friends wake up from eternal slumber through completing quests across the variety of areas in Hello Kitty Online. A lot of the main storyline / slumber quests follow a similar pattern. Uh-oh, this person is missing. Please investigate. Before they were missing, they were completing this task. Complete it for them. The person who told you that the original person was missing is distraught and can't finish their chores. Do it for them. You found a key. Go break into their house. They're sleeping. Now do 3 challenges to wake them up. Now they're awake. They have 3 more tasks for you to do. The game takes you through Sanrio Harbor and Florapolis, a colorful town full of flowers, before sending players to familiar, popular cities that have been Sanrio-fied. In order to get to London, the city after Florapolis, players were required to collect loyalty points through doing out-game activities, such as logging in every day, writing blog posts, forum posts, and e-cards on the Sanrio Town website, etc. The city areas featured a ton of popular landmarks such as London's Big Ben, New York's Empire State Building, and Paris's Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rouge is canon in Hello Kitty Online. To wrap up this section, Hello Kitty Online had a ton of quests and a ton of content to engage with. One thing that I think is really cool about the quests is that it tries to engage with almost every part of Hello Kitty Online, from farming and crafting to pets and houses. And I think it's pretty smart to have all the quests interact with each feature like this. I will say that many of the quests seem repetitive, especially the slumbering quests. I don't know how you would fix that, but there has to be a little bit of a challenge or barrier since it's the main quest, but to do it over and over and over again on each new map just feels a little boring and unimaginative. I want to commend the game designers for creating lands that look absolutely beautiful, but also accomplishing Sanrio Digital's goal of not just slapping the Sanrio branding on it. These lands were gorgeous. Future me here, and I have a couple of miscellaneous things that I want to go over before we end this section. First of all, what happened to Tokyo? Apparently they were supposed to come out with a quest for it, but they never did. And they never launched the world, so you can't access it. It's kind of a shame because when they stopped creating content for the game when they did, clearly had so much more planned for the game than they actually were able to put out. Also, they had a Facebook version of Hello Kitty Online. It seemed to be just the tutorial to get people to then go and download the game and then play it for themselves, but you could play it inside of Facebook, like Farmville or whatever those popular Facebook games were at the time. And finally, sometime in 2010 or 2011, they tried to release the Hello Kitty Online CD-ROM, which is not something that I've seen from any other MMO, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I know you will, but I've never seen any MMO release a physical copy of the game. The physical CD-ROM promised one of 4 exclusive pets, $15 worth of Sanrio cash to use in the item mall, the Hello Kitty Online game client, which by the way was free, you didn't have to pay for this, it was free, a full-color 82-page manual about the game, and Hello Kitty Online postcards. What was the point of this? Why? The game was free. Just release bundles like many other games do. Pay X amount of dollars and you get this much for the item mall, you get one of 4 exclusive pets, and you get I don't know, some sort of clothing in the game. Why a physical CD-ROM? And who would buy that? Especially with the game being free, unless you're a big Sanrio collector. So I bought this game for the video, and now we're gonna open it. Okay, so I'm half expecting for this box to be empty. Not gonna lie, but let's open it. Collectible postcards. I got New York and Florapolis, which I'm showing off here, and the 82-page full-color user manual. I think it's pretty cute, even though I think that the CD-ROM version of Hello Kitty Online is absolutely unnecessary. Having the postcards and having this full-color guide of basically Hello Kitty Online history was actually pretty cool, so that's about it. After the global in-game charity events that we talked about in the beta section, Sanrio, of course, continued to host them. Throughout 2010, Hello Kitty Online hosted a variety of charity events, including Foods for Friends 2, where players from various regions donated in-game food items that totaled up to over $18,000 for Doctors Without Borders in response to the earthquake in Haiti. Through Chocolate Harbor Rescue, players raised over $11,000, split 50-50 between UNICEF and the Oceania Group. They also hosted Toys for Tots, Helping Hand for Thailand, and many more. To wrap up this section, Hello Kitty Online hosted a ton of in-game charity events for their community to participate in and give back to good causes for free. I think that by having this as part of an MMO that's aimed towards children or young adults, it's incredibly important to have this charity aspect. You're teaching kids empathy and caring about others and working together, and I think all of those are great things. The other thing that I think that they did really well was when they were having these in-game charity events, they would always have a little blurb about charity that they'll be supporting or the cause that's happening. So teaching, not only having this event, but also teaching people why you're having this event was really important to me. I personally didn't find many criticisms of the charity aspect of this game. I think if I'm being nitpicky, I would like to see the receipts of these donations. It's possible that they did upload them like they said that they would, but I couldn't find that on the Wayback Machine, so who knows if they actually did it. Also, I think being transparent about the amount of items as well as what their value is in terms of points and dollars would have been helpful. Just some transparency there. Seeing that the players crafted over 300,000 items for the Food for Friends event and that it only equated to about $12,000 was a little interesting. I know that it's based off of the difficulty of crafting the food, but being able to see that, have the list, have the values, would make it a better experience, because seeing that 140,000 chocolate milks only equated to $280, I know that it's supposed to be based off of how much time it took to craft them, but your players might not have known that at the time, so being a little more clear and transparent about that would be my other criticism. All in all, I think Sanrio and Hello Kitty Online doing these in-game charity events was a net positive. In 2015, it was discovered that the Hello Kitty Online database from sanriotown.com was leaked, exposing the private information of over 3.3 million accounts. This private information included first name and last name, gender, country of origin, email addresses, and passwords. Of course, this was an incredibly bad thing for Hello Kitty Online. In December, Sanrio Digital posted a blog on the forum called Security Advisory, corrected a vulnerability involving personal information of sanriotown.com members. In the blog post, they were quick to clarify that the vulnerable data did not include credit card information or payment information, and that users' passwords were accessible but remained securely encrypted. Even though payment information was not leaked, the personal information leaked, such as names, date of birth, gender, email, and potentially passwords, is still incredibly bad. Over a year after the incident, Sanrio Digital published another blog called Update to Security Advisory from December 22nd, 2015. According to the blog, at the time we had no evidence of data theft. However, we have now learned that personal information of sanriotown.com users was stolen during the 2015 data breach. According to Steve Reagan, a database containing information of 3.3 million Sanriotown users has been circulating since the time of the incident. Once again, they clarified the leaked data did not include credit card information. I think what they're trying to say through this blog post is that in 2015, when they discovered that this was happening, they thought it was just a vulnerability in the system. They didn't think that anyone's information had been stolen yet. But in 2017, after some investigation, they did discover that the entire database had been leaked and private information had been stolen. But, of course, they're quick to say that no credit card information was captured. Once again, this is incredibly bad for Sanrio Digital and Hello Kitty Online. It's hard to say the exact age range for Hello Kitty Online players, but I assume that there was a younger demographic, as that was the audience for Sanrio. But having player information leaked is bad, period, but I also think that leaking children's information and younger people's information is also pretty bad. Long before the 2015 data breach, Hello Kitty Online was already experiencing a dwindling player base. According to MMO Fallout, Sanrio stopped supporting the game in March 2012. The final quest was the 2011 Valentine's Day quest, and updates to the game were few and far between. Additionally, Sanrio appeared to focus on a new interest in mobile games, which they promoted on the Sanrio Town website. HelloKittyOnline.com still exists today, and the last blog post was from March 2012, announcing the Easter festivities event. Springtime has finally come. Easter is just around the corner, and we're holding several events in celebration. We'll post details soon, so keep tuned in or you'll miss out on fun games and prizes. Yet this announcement post would never come. And I don't even know if they hosted an Easter event in 2012. What's wild to me is that they stopped posting about or creating content for the game in 2012, and they didn't even shut the game down until 2017, 5 years later. In March 2018, user ActinRF posted on their blog a eulogy for Hello Kitty Online. In the blog post, ActinRF detailed the death of Hello Kitty Online and their criticisms of the game. They expressed their criticisms of Area Games, who is tasked with releasing the North American version of Hello Kitty Online. According to ActinRF, after dragging their feet, Area Games released the game in the fall of 2009, just in time for Hello Kitty's birthday. Area Games was not a good fit for Hello Kitty Online. Their demographic was more towards young male gamers. In addition, Hello Kitty Online players experienced trolling and harassment by other area users. Rumor had it that there was conflict between the game companies and Sanrio Digital over-release schedules and who was responsible for promotions and updates for the game. Sanrio Digital announced that they were transitioning the game back to themselves in June 2010. I attempted to look into this, but there actually isn't a ton of information about Area Games. They are an online game publisher founded in 2006 in San Francisco, and they were headquartered in Berlin. They have published a variety of games and hosted online MMOs, but Hello Kitty Online isn't even listed on their Wikipedia page. But Area Games did have a YouTube channel, and they did post their own Hello Kitty Online trailer. So that's kind of weird. I cannot confirm nor deny the claims that ActinRF is making in this blog post, but they claim that after the game was transitioned from Area Games to Sanrio Digital, the game had experienced a ton of problems. They wrote about the 2010 Patch of Doom, which transitioned the game back to Sanrio Digital and, quote, had changed the mechanics of the game, making the monsters harder to knock out and remove some popular rewards. They continued, expressing that many players burned through the game and then got bored when there was not much to do after the main quest. Quote, from 2010, this began to languish. Sanrio promised the release of the Tokyo City quest, and while players can see it on the world map, it was never released. Instead, we got a stripped-down New York quest. The final quest was the Valentine's Day quest the following year. Following the Valentine's Day event, things slowed down. Users left the game, and eventually the game masters were not active on HKO. The game eventually became like a ghost town, but everything was still working. It did appear that Hello Kitty Online was active throughout 2011, despite the Valentine's Day quest being the last piece of content added to the game. There were a couple of in-game charity and non-charity events, but the blog went cold around the 2011 Christmas season. ActinRF notes that Sanrio did seem to shift towards mobile games, even claiming that some of their apps use the same Hello Kitty Online mechanics. Hello Kitty Food Town uses a stripped-down farming system from HKO. Finally, they said that the last time they could access the game was August 2017. Through my own research on the Wayback Machine, it appears that in April 2016, the download page on HelloKittyOnline.com started to redirect to Sanrio Town, and players could no longer download the game. I am unsure exactly when players were unable to create accounts for the game, as that could be a different date entirely. Throughout 2014 to 2017, Sanrio Town promoted a couple of different Hello Kitty apps, such as Hello Kitty Cafe, Hello Kitty Carnival, Hello Kitty Jewel Town, and Hello Kitty Food Town. Seemingly, Hello Kitty Online servers remained active with minimal players until about 2017, when the game was officially shut down, with no announcement or no warning to any of its player base. The exact shutdown date is unknown, but according to Acton RF, the last time that they could access the game was August 2017. Throughout the research process, I kept thinking to myself, God, I hope there's a way that I can access the game, or at least play the minigames. I randomly stumbled across someone's Reddit post, a fellow content creator looking to make a video about the game. In the comments, someone linked a Discord server to a group of people who are trying to recreate the game. As of the last few months, a group of people have recreated Hello Kitty Online, and you can play it now. They also recreated or have an archived version of the Hello Kitty Wiki, or Kittypedia. The download process seems to be a bit daunting, and it kind of looks like a virus, but I can confirm that I have downloaded it, and I have been playing it with no issues. It's not a virus. Seemingly, they don't seem to have a huge community yet, and they haven't created any social media profiles, so you kind of have to stumble across a comment or a piece of media that plugs the Discord if you want to access it. I will be sharing the Discord link in the descriptions, and I hope to see y'all on Hello Kitty Online. Hello Kitty Online. Wow. What a journey. I personally have never seen an MMO that has tried to make an impact through charity like HKO did, and I think that really made Hello Kitty Online special. I also did not expect to see Hello Kitty and MMO mechanics. I would have loved to play this game if I knew it existed. I don't know if it suffered from a lack of marketing or advertising or what. I played a ton of MMO games from 2008 to 2012, and I never heard of Hello Kitty Online. And it was really sad to see that the game was basically abandoned in 2012, even with the impact the game had globally through donations and, through these charity events. Additionally, I haven't seen an online MMO that also tries to focus on the community outside of the game itself. I don't think Sanrio Town was perfect in any way, and I think it fell short in a lot of ways, but I think it was pretty innovative for the idea behind it. Having a moderated and monitored space to connect with people outside of the game, as well as being encouraged to create content about the game through your blogs or through the Dream Studio, was pretty cool. I wish they had tried to embrace that more, like they did with the trailer contest or submitting the video applications. It would have been cool to have little contests like design a new mob, or what map should we have next, or design a quest. Additionally, having non-charity guild events that, encourage you to meet new players and new people would have been really cool to see, or at least more documentation of it. And of course, I'm saying this not knowing the in-game events that they had between 2008 and 2012. I can't see that far back in the Wayback Machine. Of course, there's no record of them in the game today. Finally, I'm very glad to see the Hello Kitty Online community continuing history through the Hello Kitty Rewritten, as I'm going to call it. The preservation of video games is incredibly important, and it's a topic that I'm very passionate about, so I'm glad to see that it's happening, and that the game won't be lost forever. Thank you so much for watching this video about Hello Kitty Online. If you like this video, be sure to like it, and leave a comment, and share the video if you think it's worth sharing. So yeah.